Okay, welcome to In Gear Media Podcast. This is Daniel and got my boy Matteo with me.
How's it going?
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself and what you drive and what got you into cars.
So I'm Matteo, as I said before. I drive a 1965 Mustang Fastback GT350. I also drive a Subaru Crosstrek. It's kind of a mom car, but I still love it. And I also drive a 2003 Tacoma Pre-Runner. So kind of a little bit of everything.
You definitely got that off-road in there, the
100%
daily.
Utilitarian, the daily, a little bit of better gas mileage than 8, so we're doing pretty good. What got me into cars pretty much started with my dad. I feel like that's kind of the common experience for a lot of people, but dad took me to car shows, car meets, spent a lot of time in the garage with him, even if it wasn't our garage. Didn't like it as much because, you're a kid, you don't want to just sit in one place and just watch. But still picked up a lot of valuable knowledge that I still use to this day. So I can't really trade it for anything, and it's what got me into cars and brings me to where I am now.
That's cool, man. So what do you have planned for the Shelby? Because I know the last time we had talked, you were talking about focusing more on the interior of it.
Yeah, so like most, I think, car enthusiasts that build for performance and speed, I think unless you're going to be doing like an FIA certified race, come speed first, safety last. So that's definitely going to be something I'm going to be working on coming next year. Putting on a roll cage, hopefully, or at least a roll bar in the back, shoulder harness seat belts, and probably a nice cargo seat, just something that has more of a bucket styling, because I have the light bucket seats, probably something a little bit hopefully safer, and some better gauge cluster, because they do have Dakota Digital. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they do gauge clusters for classic cars, mostly Ford, some GM, but it clocks all your info, including oil, coolant, all the stuff you need, including 0 to 60 times, so I don't have to keep going to the track and keep logging my times.
Oh wow, I need to look that up. That sounds very interesting. So is it digital or is it like a...
It's kind of a mixture. So it's going to have the analog gauges. They do have a fully digital one, but that one was like their first product, and they don't really have any supporting mods for it or any supporting electronics. So if you do break it, you break it, buy a new one, which kind of sucks because it's $600 a piece. You really don't want to keep buying new ones. It's kind of inconvenient. But the analog ones, really nice. I like them, and they do have 2 little digital screens that read out anything you want, whether it be res, speed, or the 0 to 60 time, whatever you want.
That's really cool. I think that that'll put like the modern part into the Shelby.
100%, and it's not too aggressive either.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing, because I feel like for your car it's just completely raw, like just definitely how it was back in the day.
I would agree.
Yeah, so I like even when I rode in it, I was like that day that we did the Azusa run with the no AC. That was very fun.
Yeah, it gives you some perspective, man. People were struggling.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's real race car, right?
Oh, 100%. No AC. I didn't even have to rip it out. It just didn't come with one, so.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, I mean, when it comes to like races and stuff like that, do you want to just do time attack or like what's the deal with that?
So time attack's kind of where like a majority of the track time goes. I can't really do any FIA certified races. That's not something I'm really aiming to do. As much as I would love to, it's not something I can really get into. Budget wise and time wise. Being a full time student and working, it's hard to balance that lifestyle. But time attacks are always really fun. I like them. I get to tear up the track a little bit and not be too aggressive with it. About 30-minute intervals. Really nice, really fun, and it's probably what I'm gonna keep doing for a while.
Nice, man. Do you have any are there any tracks that you really want to take the Shelby on, at least maybe not locally, but just in general?
So I know this is really a lot of people I hope a lot of people would agree with me on this. If they don't, I understand, but I would say if I had to take it on any track, I'd probably say, I know this is pretty modern, but Circuit of the Americas. I know it's the F1 race weekend, so everybody's kind of getting hyped for that one. So, I'm kind of biased on that right now, but I'd say overall the Nürburgring would have to be it. I just kind of want to see how it would fare against everything else that's out there.
Yeah, that'd be scary and very fun.
Oh yeah, no safety and a lot of speed.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and especially you'd probably be driving it for the first time, if you did, or would you go because I know some people rent cars.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned it last time when we were doing our track thing on the sim, but yeah. I do hopefully next year want to make it out there, rent a car, just kind of get a feel for it, just really enjoy myself. Because the track rentals, I mean, if you're not renting Ferrari Enzo, it's pretty reasonable.
For sure.
It's like $200 an hour, which honestly, to tear up the Nürburgring, that's all I need. I only need an hour. I don't need. Yeah. I might want a little bit more, but for the time being, an hour seems reasonable.
No, for sure. I feel like if you do 2 3 hours, and I feel like at that point you've done them before. You just want to do it for fun, for shits and giggles, you
Yeah,
know.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like the Nurburgring and Circuit of the Americas would be fun on with that car.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that'd be very fun. Then two completely different tracks when it comes to
Oh,
like
100%. Circuit of America is a lot more modern. It's a lot flatter. It's a lot more everything than the Nurburgring. Not saying the Nurburgring isn't cool. It's just I would say it's a lot safer.
For sure.
Which is why they took the Nurburgring out of Formula One. Too dangerous. So.
Yeah, especially for F1 cars.
Oh, 100%. Too fast, too many bumps. And you're finally tuning a car for that race. So, too much terrain change. You're going to be panicking a little bit.
I feel like they already have that, like, tighter track, but not small. When it comes to Monaco, that's a tight-ass track.
Oh, 100%. And I know, like, in more recent talk, they've been thinking about narrowing the cars, but totally separate topic, totally separate issue. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and let's... brings me to my next topic that I had questions for you. I don't know if you heard or you saw it. I sent you some stuff on it, but the whole lowriders and like them being able to lifting the ban.
Mm-hmm.
And what surprises me was the fact that when I was reading the article, it said 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe because it's been so ingrained in Southern California car culture, and not just that, Chicano culture as well. Like, it's just
for sure.
It's such a staple. Like, you think Southern California, you're thinking Snoop Dogg, you're thinking Ice Cube, but you're also thinking lowriders and the Dodgers, of course. Can't forget that.
Of course. Yeah, because I mean, we grew up, with our parents. Yeah. I mean, when they would probably talk about how the cruise nights would go and stuff like that. I know my mom would always go to the cruise nights in Whittier and everything. Yeah. So I mean, the fact that it's going to come back is interesting, but also what I wanted to ask you is, how do you think it's going to go with the new generation, with the takeover scene and stuff,
I think it's going to get interesting. From the standpoint of, I think the lowrider community in general, I mean, you're looking at a lot of older dudes. Like, just to explain it simply, I don't see a lot of younger people really getting into the lowrider scene, which honestly I think is a little unfortunate, because I always thought of it more as an art form and kind of combining it with cars, because I mean, you look at some of these builds, they're beautiful, fully chromed out. It's almost like a piece of artwork on wheels.
For sure.
So I think you're gonna see a lot of the old timers coming back, bringing their rides out, which is gonna be great. But I don't know how that's gonna fare with the takeover scene and the younger generation, because they definitely have a different goal in mind than just cruising and having a good time.
Oh, for sure. It's went from, let's go and cruise with like 100 cars on the highway and race.
Yeah.
And then it like went down into the drain when it came to the whole donuts and burnouts and stuff. But I mean, for me, I know I used to go to those meets back in the day, and when it comes to the takeovers and everything, and to how they are now is just insane. I mean, you've seen the videos.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, they're always entertaining to watch, but I know for a fact that dude's not happy. They just got bodied by a Mustang, so it's unfortunate. No,
yeah, I mean, it's for our entertainment, right?
Yeah, you flip the reels, you see some dude getting bodied by a couple of cars. It's always entertaining, but some dude out there is hurting.
No, for sure,
so,
for sure.
It's kind of it's funny, but it's not. It's a little dark, but it's all right.
No, yeah, but we're used to the dark stuff.
Oh,
that's okay. But I mean, also I did mention to you before we started the podcast that that Newsom or someone was deciding on putting the whole classic car thing. What's your take on that? Because I mean, you drive the Shelby.
Yeah, so the whole classic car ban, I mean, I'm kind of split with it. I'm kind of torn on it, because I also get one half of it, which is pollution. I get we're a big state on it. Obviously you can look at our emissions laws. We're really big on the whole, we don't want polluting vehicles, which I find kind of entertaining, considering that we make up for less than 0.1% of pollution nationwide, not to mention in the entire world. So I find that a little interesting that we do that. However, I think when it comes to classic cars, there's going to be some pushback, and I don't think a lot of people are going to go for it. But I think one of the solutions that may come out of it is maybe running them on E85, burns a little bit cleaner. And it's not super hard to do on classic vehicles, so I think that might be a viable option in the future.
Okay. I mean, because they were saying that they were going to charge you by mileage. And I mean, obviously, we know Ferrari's done it before, the whole rollback.
Yeah.
So I mean, pulling a Ferris Bueller, like.
Oh man, yeah. I'd say when it comes to the speedometer, charging us by the miles, some speedometers might magically stop working. I think that might end up being the future of it because unless they send somebody to really babysit you and see what you're doing, mine's gonna become unplugged. Because I swear I'm not giving up my car just because some dude said nah like that. We're not having that. No, we're gonna have that.
Yeah.
It's just you may not like how we're gonna have it.
Right.
So.
And I mean, just like there's ways around the whole exhaust and stuff like that. Like.
Yeah, 100%. You find some dude that's willing to take a couple 20s.
Yeah.
We'll make a deal. We'll cut a deal.
For sure. And especially with all the people that have cop friends.
Oh,
like,
100%.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You can't really stop it from happening. I think it's just more kind of show like, hey, this is what we're about. But at the end of the day, we will always find a way around it, and you can't really change that.
And especially like you were saying with the whole car culture being so huge, and especially in SoCal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, getting to the SoCal car scene. And I always ask every guest that I have, like, what are your thoughts on it now compared to what it was like, say 6-7 years ago? Because at least that's what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
When my brother would take me to the car shows and stuff. So I've seen from what it was before and to what it is now, and it's completely different in my eyes. I mean, what's your take on that?
So I would agree. I think back in the day, you had to know somebody that was already in it to be a part of it. I mean, this is way before social media took it, and I was still really young. I would still go to one, but I was really young and probably too young to remember a lot of the finer details. But now they post the addresses out there. It's out there for the cops. It's out there to be shut down. And the car scene in general, like, I think those few that do takeovers and burn out meets kind of gives everybody else a bad rap. That's the true enthusiast that really builds their car, that wants to show it off, talk to other enthusiasts, and just have a cool conversation, which is why I'm a big fan of Cars and Coffee, because you get a lot of the real enthusiasts there, in my opinion. So
I agree with that. And speaking of cars and coffees and stuff like that, I mean, what's one of the cars and coffees that you like to go to?
So there's this one in Newport Beach at Chihuahua Cerveza, and it's small in my opinion. It's small. It's a smaller Cars and Coffee just because they host it at 9 to 11 a.m. So obviously you don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn to go, which is kind of nice because a lot of these 7 a.m. I'm like, damn, I don't know if I want to wake up at 7 a.m. and not just that, wake up the neighborhood, get yelled at. So I don't know if I really want to do that. That one though, super sick. Definitely would check it out. Especially for any viewers, check it out. Definitely worth the look. Mostly classic cars you're gonna see there, but the people are really nice. Food's not great at the restaurant. Nothing against them. People mainly go there for the drinks, but it's a really cool little car meet, and I really like it.
That's cool, man. But speaking of other car shows and especially something like that, because I have seen that event. Mm-hmm. I haven't went to it yet, but I have seen it online when I look up like local car shows in my area or whatever. I'll see that one, but I don't know if you've ever been to Donuts and Derelicts, I believe it's what it's called.
I have not, but I've heard of it a couple times. I've been recommended it.
Yeah, that meat gets popping like no other. I mean, it's a smaller parking lot, but I'd say they fit 100 cars in there.
Oh, damn.
And it gets pretty tight. Like, I believe it starts at like 7 a.m. It's one of those 7 a.m. ones.
I got you.
But literally everything from something like your car to there was a dude that was he was driving. He built it. He took him 25 years to build it. It was like this electric spaceship thing on wheel. It was like a 3-wheel car.
That's sick.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I got the battery from the Tesla, and I got this from here, and it has like five batteries in it total." And like he did all the work, and it's like,
oh yeah,
that's
what being an enthusiast is about, man. That's
for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not even like he used like a regular car to build it. He built everything. Like when I say everything,
custom fabrication, like completely
custom everything. It. Yeah.
No, that's always cool to see in my opinion, because I think a lot of those cars that they're custom built, and the people that a lot of these are really just passion projects, which I think most could say that they are. I think they kind of get overlooked in my opinion. I think it's more so because we've kind of desensitized ourselves to what we consider cool. I think a lot of people, they're only really get excited, they see any Lamborghini, Ferrari, they get excited about the supercar brands, but they kind of overlook the lower levels. A lot of these cars have more money in them than they're worth, but they're still cool.
And I feel like not only that, but a lot of the kids, I mean, I'm only 21, but I'm talking about the kids like still in their teens, A lot of them, I feel like maybe their parents aren't car enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, but when it comes to, like I said, the car scene and everything, I went to Cars and Copters last weekend, and I remember you were talking about going to that one.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing a little bit on, prices and like why you didn't go?
Oh man, so Okay, outside of the fact that I have work, we're gonna completely ignore that. I'm gonna assume I didn't have work.
Yeah.
Would I have gone? I would say probably not. Not because I hate fundraisers and not because I hate cars. It's neither of that, obviously. I mean, I'm here. I clearly love cars. It's not because I don't dislike them.
Exactly.
I think, and I say this respectfully, I think it's just a lot of people that have a lot of money and they purchase. I mean, not saying that all of them aren't enthusiasts. I don't want to say that because I know there are the true enthusiasts that own supercars. I've met a few of them myself and they're very pleasant to talk to.
For sure.
But I do think there are I think there's a healthy majority that they have the money, they buy the cars, and they just want the attention more than they are there for the actual car itself. And they're there to talk to other enthusiasts. So I think it kind of takes away from the whole experience just a little bit. Never mind the fact that it's $60 to register your car. And then you can upgrade from there to and then it just jumps to $200 for the VIP ticket. And then $4,000 to watch the helicopter land. I'm like, if you're really excited to see a helicopter land, go to the airport. Go somewhere else. Don't go to Huntington Beach. Because I guarantee you, and I think I said this before, there's a dude out there, and he came home and his kid was in the car. He said, son, I bought you the $5,000 premium package. And his kid just looks at him and goes, damn, that's crazy. And just goes back to whatever he's doing. Because realistically, it's what are you paying $5,000 for? A bottle service that you're not old enough for? Or you're paying to watch a helicopter land? Because I know that's worth $5,000. In my opinion, it's not. Go to a free car meet, do something cool. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And I know there's some people say, oh, you're too broke to understand it. Okay, too broke to understand. That's cool.
But you have a Shelby though. But you're broke.
I know I'm broke. I get it. I'm broke a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Buying car parts is expensive, but I refuse to spend $60 just to park my car.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with that. I mean, just because of the fact that I get it. It's for the donations and everything. That's cool and all, but man, I mean, what do you get for $60? That's what I want to know.
Car. That's what you get. You get the privilege to park your car. I mean, I know people are gonna. I know that some of the photos and videos are out there. I know somebody might throw shade at me for it. I don't know if you know. What's it called? It's not. Oh yeah, Fuel Fest.
Yeah, the one that they have at Irwindale, right?
Yeah, so I went to the one at Irwindale. Okay, yes, I did pay to have my car there, but that was more so because I wanted to go for a couple of years and I hadn't been able to go yet. One of my friends wanted to go, so you know what? I'll splurge a little bit. We split the ticket, registered my car. Really fun experience because I got to ride with. Now I can't remember his name. Great drift driver though. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Drives a Corvette, Super 6, sponsored by Borla. Matt Fields. Matt Fields.
Yeah.
I got to ride in his Corvette. Best experience of my life. Really fun. I really enjoyed that event because a lot of those cars are super sick.
I feel like that. I feel like you get more bang for your buck there.
Oh, 100%.
And I mean that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the whole cars and copters situation and everything. I mean, yeah, you're getting to be on the beach and it's cool. It's definitely the SoCal vibe. And by no means am I saying the cars suck there because the cars are insane, But I feel like maybe adding a little bit more to the base price ticket, not just getting in. Maybe that should get you some a food ticket of some sort. I mean, because when I do my events or if I were to do one similar to that, I would think food would be included.
Oh, 100%. I would agree.
Maybe not drinks because drinks get pricey. Much, drinks get pricey, but
people can bring their own drinks. Cool.
Yeah, and I mean they have food trucks there, so it's not possible to be able to just be like, oh well, anyone that hands in a ticket can get one. Mm-hmm. But Fuel Fest is significantly cheaper. Yes, and I mean I believe you can run your car too.
You can if you want to hit that drag strip.
Yeah,
you can go for it. I think it was $40 for registration, which to be fair, that's not bad. I mean, $40 to rent. That's I think that's the actual going rate that they do the Thursday night drags at Irwindale.
Yeah,
I think that's the going rate to just test your car.
Yep,
$40. So they didn't really change much on the pricing model. Not just that, you get a free goodie bag if you pull up. Oh, well, if you show your car, if you're just a regular person, they're just gonna look at you. But if you pull up your car,
of course,
give you a little goodie bag, a little something from McGuire's.
Oh wow, that's really cool actually. See, I feel like, especially with cars and copters, there's so many people that are down to pay this price, as you can see, as we all see. Mm-hmm. I feel like they can definitely add a McGuire's thing or something like that, because
something to just throw a little incentive in there. Show me that I didn't just give you $60 to look cool.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember all the spotters and stuff like that are taking pictures of your car. So
that's something I kind of want to talk about. Spotters, man. I'm gonna try not to get too passionate about this.
No, please do.
Spotters, I have respect for a lot of them. I do, because obviously there's plenty of spotters that really do great work with their photography and a lot of the pictures that they take, and they organize stuff to do it on the side, like as we did with my car and that you invited me out to do. That was super sick.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. Same thing with Josh. He does great photo work on Instagram. I love it. I always enjoy seeing his photos because, I mean, to be fair, I can't take a photo like that. Probably for the rest of my life, I'll never get close to that quality.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, and I still can't reach
Get the right
that.
angles, get the right color. It's an art.
Yeah,
it's a talent.
for
but
sure.
You take a step outside of that, and you start looking at a lot of these car meets where I pull up, and I've done it before to where because I used to go to a lot higher end meets, or at least what would be considered high end. I say that kind of loosely because high end is very subjective. I call high end a bunch of dudes that put $100,000 into a Civic. I call that high end. Because it's money. It's cool.
No,
it's,
for
it's
sure.
sick. But I think some of them, and I'm not gonna throw names out there because I don't wanna dump on them a little too much. But
Right.
there's a very specific car meet that goes on in where is it at? Oh man, see now I'm gonna say it because I don't want to say it because if I say it, you're gonna know. You're gonna know the place.
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
There's a place. It takes place in a shopping mall. What's it called? It's not Newport. I'm gonna waste my time trying to think.
It's
of it.
not. It's
If it's what you're thinking of, it definitely probably is. It's a huge meet.
It's a night meet,
It's
or
every Saturday morning.
Oh yeah, we've talked about
Where's
them before.
What's the location called?
It's funny that you say that. It's in San Clemente Cars and Coffee, right?
Oh yeah, San Clemente. I'm not gonna name the exact event because I know everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about.
It's okay. It's
but
okay.
It's a real mix of who's not rich. That's definitely the takeaway I've seen. Let's block off all the front spots for the supercars. I'm like, there's plenty of sick cars that are pulling up that you give no attention to because it's not a supercar. Like, if you have you watched Fastest Car?
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah, the gentleman that drives he drives one called Lunch Money.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
super crazy hot rod.
Yeah, it's all hand driven because I think he's paralyzed from the waist down.
Yes, he is.
Super cool guy, really nice. I got to say hi to him. He pulled up.
Oh, okay.
And guess where they put him? Somewhere in the back, kind of shuffling to the side. Which I was like, that's wow.
Yeah,
that's hard. That's hard to watch because I'm like, that dude's awesome. I'm like, I mean, I have my complaints about Fastest Car for sure. I'm not. Never mind that some of these cars aren't even theirs. They're rented. We're gonna ignore that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but
especially the supercar ones.
Oh yeah, he's like, my Lamborghini. I'm borrowing it for free. I'm like, where is your car? I'm like, can we get your daily driver, sir?
Oh,
like,
the guy
the dude
that
with the yellow,
rented the Huracan, right?
The yellow Huracan, bro. I think it was yellow. I don't know. I may be wrong. Maybe I don't know if it was yellow. I think it was though. Anyway, rented. I'm like, what is your daily? I want to see what you drive to see if it's really your car, not what you rented from your home. Like I feel like you're kind of doing this a disservice. I'm like, were they not able to find another supercar driver? Like,
yeah, that's definitely on Netflix for that one.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not hard to find one.
There's a plethora of supercar owners that'd be down to do something like that.
100%. I mean, there's dudes that daily drive some of their supercars. And that's just what they do.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, they'd be psyched if they were like, hey, would you mind doing a couple of drag races with these guys? It's not going to be too hard. Just give us a quick bio. They're like, yeah, sure. They got time on their hands, but no, take the dude with the rented car. No shit on him. He seemed like a decent dude, but...
Yeah, and I mean, his photography is insane.
100%.
It's ridiculous.
Still
no, yeah.
Kind of like, okay.
You lose just a little bit of respect when you hear the rent thing.
Yeah, I'm like, why don't I just rent a car and you put me on the show? I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Like, I'll rent a car. Give me Turo. I'll show up. You don't even have to pay me. I will show up on my own fruition. I will show up and be there for you.
Yeah.
But, it's, I think that's kind of what the car scene's turning into a little bit. It's becoming kind of a wealthier hobby, if you will. I think it's kind of being taken over by the upper class, which, no hate to the upper class, but I think a lot of it comes down to, it used to be tuners and whatever parts you could scrap together and, borrowing some of your homie's parts that he's done with or whatever. That's kind of what it used to be, and now it's turned into, I can't really say what it's turned into, supercars and assuming that everything's 1,000 horsepower, which I think that's probably the thing that angers me most.
For sure. And I mean, getting back to the whole San Clemente thing, the only reason I was okay with saying it is because they did block me actually.
Oh,
on the In Gear Media page. It was my last episode with my buddy Daniel, the other photographer.
Yes.
And we had mentioned that the neighbors and stuff like that were getting mad about the cars leaving and stuff. I mean, naturally,
that's everywhere though.
People there,
100%.
Especially I feel like if you pay that much to live there, you really shouldn't be bothered at that time.
Like, I didn't pay to hear your car go down the street.
For sure,
how much this house costs? Yes, sir, we know. But we're having this event anyway.
Yep.
So I get it. I get the frustration.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't say anything bad on that episode, and the owner of everyone knows who the owner is.
Yes.
But yeah, he blocked me, and
man.
the South OC, the page itself blocked me on that one, and I was like, hey, I haven't even gotten to
Oh,
talking
you showed the
shit.
nerve, dude.
Something. I mean, usually
Yeah.
I'm very good at that,
Mm-hmm.
but this time I was trying to keep it, cool,
Yeah.
family friendly. I didn't want to go hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. I mean, they
Yeah.
still run a really huge event.
Oh, and it's pretty well organized. At least from what I've seen, it's very well. They have volunteers. It works out pretty well.
Yeah.
For, at least in my opinion, I think. Only time it really hasn't because I went. This is on me. I went a couple of weeks ago because I couldn't really find any other meets that were going on that fit my schedule. So like, you know what? I'll roll down there. I usually, because when I go down there, I grab some breakfast. Look at the beach, do whatever. So I pulled up. I parked my car. I'm trying to leave. The problem is, and this kind of comes full circle back to the spotters. What they do is they have a tendency, and because the dudes that I'll call them seasoned veterans that have been doing this for a while, been taking pictures for a hot minute.
Yeah.
They know what to do. They know how to get a spot. They know how to take pictures without being intrusive. Now there are the whole other side that I believe are more in it for the trend than they are the actual being an enthusiast aspect. But they kind of shut down traffic, try to take pictures, hop in the middle, which I'm like, okay, I get you're excited, but I'm like, are you excited because everybody else is excited, or are you excited because you really love what you're looking at?
Right. I mean, I feel like that's definitely gotten worse in the
Mm-hmm.
past.
Yeah.
At least the past couple of years.
Oh, 100%.
But when you go to the smaller events, and like this is what led to Cars and Coffee Irvine to be shut down. I don't know if you ever went to that one or if you saw pictures or videos of that one.
Now it's the first time me hearing about this.
That I was just it's funny because brought up the same topic with my buddy Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about that, and it was in Irvine. It's just off the freeway.
Okay.
When you go to San Clemente, I don't know if you pass it, but the big Taco Bell
Oh yeah.
building, it
Mhm.
was there. It was in that parking lot.
Oh nice.
Yeah, and it was really cool because I remember at one point I never experienced it, but at one point you were able to go in and order off of like their secret menu or like the menu that like wasn't released to the public.
I think he told me about this. What didn't some dude like wander in there like he wasn't supposed to, like snuck in or something?
Well, he walked in there. This is from what I heard from somebody else.
Mhm.
So I don't know, 100% true. Just from another source.
Okay.
I'd say pretty credible. But they walked in there and they didn't only just get the food. I guess they decided to just walk around the building and just like kind of like go because there were certain areas that you weren't able to
Just a
go.
quick tour,
Yeah,
Self-guided tour. There you go.
he did a little free self-guided tour. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that led to them shutting the office down to at least the normal Cars and Coffee goers.
Oh man, yeah, it's kind of like that dude. Like I don't know if you remember this, but like in high school, like they go to the bathroom and they go on like a school tour. We'll
Yep.
come back for like an hour, just the whole period, and then like mysteriously reappear.
Yeah,
right
like
at
the
end
last
of
10
period.
minutes.
And you're like, dude, where'd you go? He's like, oh, bro, this is the bathroom. And he knew this dude just like circumnavigated the high school. He was like, dude, come on, man. Like, I was forced to learn, and I was forced to not go to the bathroom because you had to pass the whole time. I digress though.
That was
That's
that.
pretty funny,
That was that guy. That was that guy.
Took a quick tour of Taco Bell. It's pretty good.
No, I mean, have you been to Supercar Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on that one? Because I don't know if you remember when they used to do it at Westfield Topanga at the mall.
No, I don't remember that one.
When it was there, it was popping and like, it was just a different vibe, But
Yeah.
I mean, now you go to the college one, it's still solid. It's still a solid event. I love it. If you're down to make that drive out there
Yeah, 100%.
to Woodland Hills,
Yeah.
it's definitely an event that I'd go to rather than driving to San Clemente for their event. I mean, yes, you have the beach. It's completely different,
It's a different vibe for sure.
different vibe for sure, yeah. But Supercar Sunday is literally it's not like the name doesn't explain everything because people will see it and be like, "Oh, it's just supercars." Like
No,
literally everything.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the name kind of. But I mean, I feel like if you read past the flyer, it kind of says in the bottom it's like all cars are welcome, which I know a lot of people don't like to read, but if you take like the extra like 2 seconds out of your day just to look at the little thing that says all cars are welcome, I think they understand that it's not only supercars, but people do what they want.
For sure. I mean, the whole car scene in general. I mean, where do you see it at some point going up? Because I mean, you've been in it for a while, so
Yeah.
you've seen the ups and downs and the different characters that the car scene brings and creates.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go up or down. I think it's just gonna kind of. I'm not gonna say it's gonna stay where it's at, but I think I don't want to say it's gonna stay where it's at. I really don't want to because I want to say like, oh, it's gonna get better. The enthusiast, it's gonna be awesome. I can't say that. What I think is gonna happen though is gonna be very diverse and not in a good way because what's really happening now, and I think if you've been in the car scene, for more than a week, you can kind of notice the different. I guess you could say there's a car scene, and then you kind of go to the subcategories. And this is kind of where that's where everybody is. They're in the subcategories. And I think you're going to have your supercar only meets where it's just, going to be a bunch of dudes just, I don't know, how crazy can we get on this podcast?
No, no limits. I don't care.
Oh,
Go ahead.
cool. So it's pretty much a bunch of rich dudes giving each other reach arounds, some of these like higher end meets for sure. But then you go from that extreme, and then you kind of go like to the other extreme, which is, oh, we're going to do takeover. We're going to burn out a Dollar Tree parking lot, which I'm like, dude, no, I'm convinced that nowhere else in America can you go to like a Dollar Tree parking lot, see a car meet, hear some trumpets, and also buy a list of illegal shit, not even minding like, oh, I can go buy a shitload of alcohol or weed in a Dollar Tree parking lot and look at some questionable cars that may have been questionably obtained. If you go, I used to go to them. I can't throw shade because I used to go to them.
Right.
And if I want to see somebody get hit by a BMW, I will go. If I can see that, I will go because I think that's kind of like, I didn't even pay to get to see this show. Call about paying for your buck. Yeah, I pay $60 to watch a couple people get decked by a BMW.
Yeah.
To each his own. But it's you kind of go from one extreme to another, and then what kind of sucks is that the middle ground is really dominated by like, I would say, the older generation of car enthusiasts, which is not bad. It's just nobody's there to replace them.
Yeah.
It's becoming kind of a empty thing. So it's becoming one of those things where it's becoming two polarizations, and I can't say that I'm a fan of that.
For sure. And getting to the whole aspect of the older generation and stuff like that, I feel like there are small groups of people that do still carry on that legacy and that will carry on the legacy.
Yeah.
Because you figure what, another like say 30, 40 years, like that whole generation, that like the people especially that put on Quarantine Cruise, or now it's called Cruise and PCH.
Yes.
That whole generation is like the last group of like real car enthusiasts, like cruises. Because like,
yeah, I would have to agree with that. Yeah.
Man, like where else can you see that many like Chevy, like Chevelles, and like you got this fastbacks, everything, hot rods.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, but as you said before, I think it's something that's going to really go on the decline, and there's no one really there to fill those shoes. There's just, it's going to be an empty space, and you're going to be left with these two radical sides.
For sure, and especially when it comes to the like new generation that's going to try to keep that.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll work for sure, but also we have to remember that it's not going to be the same.
Oh, 100%.
It's not going to be the same.
And I would say a lot of that has to come with, and I'm not going to throw shade, but I understand a lot of that's going to come from wrench time and, actual understanding of your car. I get that.
Right.
And I'm not going to say I'm a master mechanic because I'm not. I get a lot of help with my car because God knows I should not be working on that car by myself. Like, it's a really bad idea. And for that, the performance that it functions at, it's even worse of an idea. If it was like a clapped out daily driver, sure, I'll go experiment in the garage, but I'm like, no, I need somebody there to help me and people to help me out, and do some of the stuff that I know for a fact I can't do because I know some of the stuff I'm out of my wheelhouse. I know that for a fact, and I don't have my dad here to help me anymore, so I'm kind of left to my own devices to kind of figure it out.
Right.
But that's gonna leave a big gap because the whole let me go figure it out, let me go experiment with my car generation is kind of dying. It's let me see how many horsepower I could get out of a PDF that some dude just emailed me. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, which is what leads me to say I think that's why it's gonna die because a lot of these classic cars that you're gonna see are just not gonna be on the road anymore. They're gonna be stuck in museums somewhere because somebody's not gonna be willing to put in the wrench time or somebody. It's just I don't think there's an appeal enough to the younger community because I know for a fact, and I can say this honestly, is when I go to a car meet with younger people, and I love my car club at school. I love it. But even when I pull up something, like I remember when I first pulled up, I even got realistic, like, bro, you track that thing? They're like, you go on the Kangs with thing? Like, you sure you can be able to take it? I'm like, I know I'm gonna be able to take it. I'm like, the fact that you're questioning me is concerning me. Because that's, the oldest car there by a crisp, 40 years. So,
yeah, nobody has the balls to drive a car like that, man.
Nobody wants to look death in the face with no seatbelt. That's my opinion.
Like I know people that are like okay if they die, but like
Okay, I'm not, yeah,
it's
I get what
it's
you're
a
saying.
whole different like you have to have a different mindset when you're driving that car and not only driving it but when you're working on it because this generation, my generation, well, ours, we don't really have most people don't have the patience to work on their own cars. So that's another thing.
Yeah, and it's it's an attention span issue for sure. Like like anything else. And I'm not gonna say I blame social media. I'm not gonna say I blame technology. I don't want to sound like a boomer, but like it's it kind of sucks a
For
little
sure.
bit. And I feel like for the people that really are, because I know they're out there. I met a couple of gentlemen close to my age. I'm 19, just to put that out there because I don't know if I said that or not. But there's I met a couple gentlemen about my age, and they're into classic cars, and they put them together. But again, I've met probably two, and
Wow.
my whole life, and that is a harsh reality when you kind of look at it. And never mind the fact that you tell people that you're about that, and they just kind of look at you with a weird look. Now, even in the car scene, they give you a weird look. They're like, "Oh, you do this?" They're like, "Well, yeah, like we enjoy it." The pressure's on, man. Like you got limited safety, and you better know what you're doing if you want it to succeed.
Yep.
So that's kind of where it's at.
I feel like a big contributor to all that is definitely the car YouTubers. Not YouTube, but the car YouTubers. Because
Okay.
I feel like YouTube definitely gives you a lot to think about when it comes to like, okay, well, I can look this up. Okay, like this
Okay.
guy did it this way,
Yeah.
And there's all these channels and stuff like that that show you how to put parts on and everything, and that's great because I mean that's literally gonna stay on the internet forever, for generations to come. That's good. At least the few little pockets of people like you were saying that like muscle cars are gonna be able to look those videos up and be able to still work on their cars.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be the same, obviously, but what's your take on the car YouTubers though?
Car YouTubers, I'm a fan. I'm not a fan at the same time. I know there's guys out there like Chris Fix. Obviously a huge following. People love him. Never mind that there was like that one incident where he started selling his own tools, his own tool brand. He said, "Oh, these are high quality tools," and somebody found him on like I forgot what it was, but what's the website name? They sell like a bunch of cheap stuff. A lot of dropshippers use it.
There's a good amount of them.
So like, oh yeah, you can buy a $12 e-bike and then you get like a piece of paper. I forgot the name of the website.
I feel like I know which website you're talking about, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
Anyway, beside the point.
We got to look that up later, but yeah.
For sure. So beside the point though, come to find out, he just bought a bunch of them, had them stamped, Chris Fix on there. He's like, these are high grade, high quality tools. I'm like, nah, bro, these are like Harbor Freight tools. I didn't buy them, but from the reviews that I heard, everybody's kind of pissed, and it's disappeared now. I know it was like big when it happened. It was big for like a week, and then everybody stopped caring. But to be fair, compared to a lot of other incidences, that is not that major. Just a little misleading, but I can't say that it's major.
I'm looking at them right now. A lot of people are just they're very cheap, junky, rebranded tools.
Exactly. Yeah, it's you go to Harbor Freight and get something a little better quality, and that's not saying much.
Well, don't get their jack stands. Or what was it, Harbor Freight or who was
No,
it?
it's Harbor Freight.
It was Harbor
No,
Freight.
you want to
yeah.
take your life in your hands, get Harbor Freight jacks. Stand by that. You want to don't play Russian roulette. Play with the Harbor Freight jack stands. That's what you want to play with.
That's the car enthusiast version, right? Of Russian roulette.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just wrenching away, and you hear that one small little crack, and you just it kind of slips through your mind. Is this my moment? Was I meant to go right now? Was it my poor decision to save $30 really worth this? Is my life worth the $30 I've saved? The answer is probably no.
Yeah,
Some
most
people
likely.
might be yes. I don't know. Depends who you are. Maybe it's these two of them. Get double the reliability. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully that would help, right? And getting to back to the YouTubers though, with the car scene. I mean, I feel like that's a big contributor to the whole leapers, spotters, I should say.
Yeah, I think there are some great ones that everybody loves. Stradman, love him. Guy, I can't handle the guy. He's great. He's like, I've always enjoyed watching his videos. But you kind of start looking around and you realize that they give you a warped perception of what really works in the car community and what you can do, because someone were like, oh, it's really easy to do this. I'm like, no, sir, it is not really easy to turbocharge my Lambo. It is not really easy. I'm like, the way you described it was, I had some money and I paid somebody else to figure it out. Like, okay, sir, your twin turbocharged Huracan is really cool, but I can't really afford that. And And that's kind of brings you back to the whole extremes thing, and I think that really exists on YouTube too. There's a whole extreme of what's reasonable and what's not, and what's feasible and what's not, and I think they kind of give you that because they don't show you the in between steps of, oh, I can't do this, or oh, here are the hiccups that we had along the way, because there always are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes you have stuff in your car that's broken that you don't even know about, and you know, I've had those moments where I'm like, you know, I'm looking at my car, I'm staring at it, I'm like, I haven't really looked at the engine mounts in a while. I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's broken. Like, it's, you know, it's a common occurrence, and I think they just kind of miss that. You know, the real shit that has to go into building your car, because it's not going to be really smooth, and it's not going to be really easy like they portray it to be.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the big factors for sure. Because I mean, kids watch them all day, and you know, it's definitely giving them false hope. Like, oh, I could just, you know, go out and buy a Corvette, and then I'll be able to start modding it right away.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let's back up a little bit.
I think that's kind of what led to the whole like 1,000 horsepower Supra factory shit, like where they were like, oh, it could gap anything out of the factory. I mean, sir, that is less than 230 horsepower. It is not gapping anything. I'm sorry. Okay, maybe I'm off on the 230. I know somebody's gonna come after me on that one, but it's fine. Rough. It was definitely under 300. I know that for a fact. I cannot stress that enough. It was under 300. And yes, it is a cool car, but you know, I think it kind of comes back to the whole YouTuber Instagram thing. Like, they really drove up the prices for all that, and so unless you can't even get a bone stock one for like 50,000, and that's not even in good condition. That's like high mileage and somewhat shitty. You know, you want something that's like mint condition. You're looking over 100 easily.
Oh man,
like it's ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, it's a cool car, but I don't think it's 100,000 worth of cool car, unfortunately.
Damn, Fast and the Furious. That's what it was.
Yeah. That's a lot of it. It's the same reason you can't get a Skyline now for, you know, I mean, you can't get an R34 for anywhere under 100. Well, it's harder to find.
Especially now, since they're actually, like, they're one of the cars that you can legally buy now.
To import
since you don't have to import it. I mean, now you have people like the great group. I love seeing all the cars that they sell, but I believe it's auto imports or import auto rank, something along those lines.
Okay.
But they do sell the GTRs, the old Evos, and stuff. But I feel like if those like dealerships and stuff like that keep going, then there's definitely still a market, and I hope that it stays like that for the old cars, because I do want to keep seeing classics.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And for the classics too, like kind of like to go on the whole like dealership thing, like really quick on the dealership, all that with the classic cars, seeing them. There are always the cool cars that the classic cars I think should be sold at dealerships, even if it's like through third party sales. I'm all down with that. But there are the auto groups, and I forgot their name on Instagram, but I will probably remember if I think about it hard enough. They sell classic cars. However, you will not find anything on their website for like under 50, because all these are like resto mods, or like they just want too much, in my opinion, for classic cars. Even if it is a resto mod, I'm like, I'm not paying $500,000 for a resto modded fastback. Like, I like for $500,000, I will build it myself and still have $200,000 left over. And that's being like, that's like overshooting it to the max.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's fucking crazy when it comes to that price for something like that. I mean, you see people that go and do barn finds, and they find crazy shit. Yeah. And I mean, most of the time it just takes maybe like 100K
and like, and a couple barns.
Yeah.
You find something cool.
Yeah, for sure. And especially I feel like it doesn't take all that much to get one going, but also you gotta remember, how much rust does it have?
Yeah, I mean, for the people that are buying like, you know, $500,000 classics, at least classic American, and you're buying it from some of these dealerships, you kind of gotta, I feel like at that point you just kind of look in the mirror. You're like, well, what am I even doing here? Like, for $500,000, I'll put together a sick garage for you. Not just one car. I will find you multiple. Oh my god, I will find you multiple.
Yeah.
You know, not just one.
Right,
you know,
right.
We can build you that one and then get you a couple more, because it's not worth $500,000 in my opinion. But
yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of cars out there that we can talk about that aren't worth the amount. Yeah. And especially new cars, and it leads me to the whole getting back to the whole YouTubers and influencers, right? And especially now, recently the whole influencer thing has been huge in the car scene. I remember, I don't know if you saw the commercial for the new Z06, on who they had in the commercial.
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
You haven't? Okay, it was, they had Amelia Hartford in there.
Okay.
She was the one driving it, and it's like, well, that's number one why the Z06 is so priced high. Because okay, we gotta have some influencer chick go in there and hike up the prices. Not only that, but it's not only that. It's the fact that these idiots are still paying the price.
Well, you gotta understand, man.
Oh my gosh.
I love the Corvettes, I do.
Yeah.
That is a preem midlife crisis car. Like, that is the running joke.
Yep.
Like, yes, this is my Z06 that was built on the first Tuesday of September. Like, bro, what? Like, and it's one of one. I'm like, no, just because it does not make it a 1-on-1 because that's the only one that was built that day. I'm like, it makes it like one of like the other like 5,000 that were also made in the same spectrum. I'm like, I'm sorry, like that's that's the reality. I mean, they're still cool cars, but I'm like, I feel like if you do own one, you have like somewhat of an obligation to society to wear some New Balances or jorts. You have like somewhat of an obligation.
For sure, for sure. I did have another question for you. I was thinking about the whole. I don't know if you've seen on Instagram 2-car solution.
No.
They're a page that literally they just get pictures of 2 cars, in the same area or like the same like parking lot or whatever, and it's like, oh, is this a good 2-car solution? So get into that. I wanted to do a little thing of my own.
Okay.
2-car garage for $60K. A lot of money to work with. That's the thing. But it's like, where do you spend it? How much do you spend on a fun car and then on a daily? So, what do you have to say about that one?
I had 60. First one's a little controversial for a lot of people. Probably 2004 WRX STI. Now, you can pick one up for 20,000. That is, you can. Now, the only reason I would put that, I'll probably spend an even 30 on it. Not for the car itself, but for the amount of maintenance I will have to put into it just to get it functional. And I love those cars, but can't tune it above stock and expect reliability anywhere. Unfortunately, they're super sick cars. They're really fun. You get 4 doors, so you can whip and cram a couple homies into the back.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely worth it on that level. Never mind that the back seats are small. If you're anything above like 5'5", just kind of give up and just kind of sit in the back. Just let that dream die. But anybody else, feel free. That's cool too. Being the taller dude, I'm obviously biased. I'm 6'3", so I still have a hard time driving some of those because it's a smaller car. And I'll still make it work though. But I'd spend 20, spend a good 10 on just parts and maintenance, and then probably for the other 30, I'd have to say probably an old 4Runner.
Okay.
It's a weird. I know it's like a weird it's a weird choice, but outside of the fun car and the cool car, you gotta have something a little utilitarian. Something you gotta throw stuff in the back, something a little bit more reliable for sure. And you can still do cool stuff because I'd say you can still pick up one that's even high mileage. You could still pick one up for about 15. Then I'd spend the rest of that 15 just doing upgrades and maintenance. Do a fresh rebuild, probably throw a fresh transmission, overhaul all the suspension, maybe even turn it into like a cool little like daily, but also a little like off-road SUV.
I was gonna say because you said Subaru, and I mean, when I think of Subaru, I think of off-roading and like the whole rally. Not off-roading, but rally car.
Right.
That's a right terminology.
Yeah.
But could you see yourself doing any sort of like rally stuff? I mean, there's really no tracks here that'll allow you to do that. But I've heard of like, I don't know if you've heard of I believe it's Dirtfish or something like that.
Sounds familiar.
That does the whole rally cross thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there should definitely be a rally cross track here in SoCal. I mean, it's not big; it's more big in Europe. But
yeah, I don't know if. I mean, I'm not gonna say all of America because I know there's like an appetite for it in certain places, but I think at least in the United States, it really like when it comes to the rallying and off-road scene, I think the United States finds itself more in the trophy truck area, at least when it comes to off-roading, because you're right, it is a a pretty normal European thing to see. But no, if I had a Subaru, I'd probably have to. If I had a WRX STI, I'd probably have to stick it on the road, just because I mean I would love to do a rally build. That'd be sick, and it would be awesome, but I also am fully aware that these dudes that do it, I would venture to say they're probably on par with Formula One drivers as far as like reactivity and skill level, because these dudes are dealing with high functioning, high frequency. You have spectators on the side, you have trees. If you crash in Formula One, at least now your chances of surviving are pretty high.
Oh yeah.
There's so much safety equipment now that if you do die,
chances are very low.
Chances are low, yeah. I mean, injured, yes, but not you're not dead. But in rally, you know, you miss that turn, you go flying into a tree. I don't really think you're gonna walk away from that one. You know, I'm just speculating. But I would say you don't just get up and you're like, oh, this is cool, guys. It was great. You know, sorry I hit that tree there. No, it doesn't happen.
And the people that you take along with it too.
Oh yeah, man. Couple passengers for the back seat, you know.
Ooh, yeah, that's always interesting. But
So,
I feel like SoCal definitely needs something like that.
Because you go a little farther north, like you're kind of getting in like the Mammoth area. Like there are off-roading trails, but that's like, you know, that's kind of dominated by the Polarises. So you're not really seeing any rally cars out there because the terrain's not built for rally cars. You know, you gotta have some super aggressive suspension setups
For sure.
and tires just to make it function. I mean, never mind the fact that you gotta probably be a minimum of about 2.5 to 3 feet off the ground to even survive out there.
Oof.
Unless you're going in like strictly like dirt patches, but you don't want to do that. You know, you want to do the fun stuff. You want to be driving through the trees.
Right, yeah. Like, okay, getting to the whole, is there a track, is there not a track? The only track that I've seen, but I have not seen them, like, oh, you can just go and take your car there. Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, if you guys see this, you seen this part right here, correct me in the comments. But I was going to say, I don't know if you ever went to Nitro Rallycross, or you heard of it.
Yeah, I've seen the videos.
Yeah, okay. So I went when it first happened, the first year that they did it. Very cool, very awesome. Now, I'm not I don't know, I'm going to ask you this right now, but I'm not a fan of the whole electric cars and stuff like that. And they had a whole section of the race was dedicated to electric rally cars. And I believe they were electric because, I mean, no motor noise or anything. When I think of rallycross and stuff like that, I think of Ken Block. Right, everybody does.
That's an interesting point right there because you remember what he did in Vegas just before he passed.
That's the thing.
Electric Audi Quattro. You know, I was a little conflicted on that one, but I'm like, you're still a skilled driver, and I'm still gonna love him regardless. You know,
yeah.
I mean, shit, he's probably one of my bigger influences. You know, I mean, you know, I shed a tear when he died. You know, that hurt. You know, because I remember watching Gymkhana. You know, that was sick.
Those were the best videos.
School, watch it. You know, it was sick. Like it was. Those were the days, but. You know, lost a legend, and it's tough, but as far as electric cars, I was a little torn on that one. I'm like, it's cool, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to hear, I was like doing burnouts. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm like, I'm a little conflicted, you know. I want to hear those turbos. I want to hear that exhaust, you know.
That's
I want to, man, what's it called? I want to hear those anti-lag turbos, you know, just popping like, I want to hear that. Like, it's a staple of rallying.
For sure.
To, to do a full 180 and go electric. I mean, how do you feel about that? Like, are you a person? I don't know. Like, what are you feeling about that?
When I saw that video, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I was like, I hate to say it because, and I know people are going to just totally roast me on this, or they're going to just be like, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
But I lost a little bit of respect when he released that video.
You're an asshole, man. Why did you say that? No, I guarantee you there will be a keyboard warrior coming after you.
For sure. And I mean,
I can hear it. I can hear the typing. We haven't even posted this, and I can hear it. I understand this.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you can really lose respect for the dude, though. Like, I mean,
it's hard to.
Because, I mean, is that really on him? Like, because that's what you have to kind of, I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's what you kind of have to look into. Because you know he's driven plenty of Audis in the past. I mean, I forgot which one he had that's white.
The Quattro?
The Quattro, yeah. I mean, his daughter drives it now, and that car is sick. So obviously, he's having something going on with Audi for a while, obviously, and I think a lot of it does come down to marketing and sponsorships too. Like that was definitely, I think, a major driving force behind that. And I think Audi was just kind of like, hey, we want to showcase the future of rallying potentially.
It just sucks to think. I guess because I've been so. I guess some people can say brainwashed or whatever you want to think, but like. Everywhere I go, and not just everywhere I go, like to car shows and stuff, but like my brothers always had, like, I've never grown up around electric cars. I always thought electric cars, like, no, because that just means that they're gonna take the gas powered cars away, and then they're gonna eventually stop making them. Getting to that, I mean, look at what Corvette's doing now with the E-Ray. What do you think of the E-Ray?
Well, the E-Ray, if I'm not mistaken, is a hybrid, right?
It is a hybrid.
Drive system, and then also has the gas drive system, which I'm not opposed to. I mean, the E-Ray is pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a hybrid electric. I like because I think you're not just hearing the electric motor, unless you get like a BMW i8, where if I'm being honest, they look great, but for what you get and for
Oh,
the
they're
price, I kind of cringe a little bit. I'm like, I don't know if I really want a glorified Prius, with some aero on there. I'm like, I don't know if that's really what I'm looking for here, because that's the vibes I get when I've driven one. That's the vibes I get when I drive one.
yeah. I mean, for BMW being BMW,
Yeah, you feel a little
like,
disappointed. You have the whole M series. You're just kind of looking at it and you're like, is this really the best your engineers could come up with? Like,
it's junk.
yeah, you're like, what? They had a whole some dude on Instagram. He got famous off it. He did well. I don't know if he got famous off it. He might have been famous before. I can't remember. Did a whole series because it lost power and he tried to do the maintenance himself and the whole car just locked up and shut down. Like, and BMW refused to do like any work and it turned into a whole like YouTube series. And I was like, millions of views. And I'm like, millions of views.
God.
Buy a BMW i8 and just break it. there are your views. That is all. Be like the whistling diesel of i8s. Just destroy it and watch the views come in, man.
He's another interesting one for YouTubers. I mean, I haven't seen that much, but like the little tidbits that I've seen are very interesting. I mean, what are your takes on the whole destruction? Not just him, but I mean, you got to think about Daily Driven Exotics too is another one that fucking like. That's the thing though. When he first started, solid channel. Now
it's drifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of straying away from they're losing the plot a little bit. It's kind of like The Walking Dead. It was cool in the beginning, and now it's just you're wondering why you're even still here, just a little bit.
I agree with that, but also you have to remember, like a majority of his fan base, especially now, are kids. So it's like you have to keep changing what you're doing.
And I think, that's to be fair though. I get what you're saying. The whole fan base is kids, but that's where I gotta say I'm a little disappointed because I definitely think that. I mean, okay, I can't throw shade because yes, I was one of those kids at one point watching him.
Right.
Watching Daily Driven Exotics, but the other half of that is also don't fold, man. I get it's hard to say don't chase the bag because that's really hard to say because you want money, you want to do cool shit.
Right.
But you can't also be like, okay, I'm gonna sell out because my audience is a bunch of 12-year-olds, because they're like, oh, it's really cool, 1,000 horsepower. No, don't sell out. Be cool.
Right.
Keep it up. I still love them. They're still cool.
Yeah.
I know a couple of their meets. I don't dislike them on any level.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, don't sell out, man. That's kind of
I still watch them from time to time as well.
Yeah, it's pop in, see how they're doing.
Yeah, and some of the videos, of course, the whole. But what I was gonna say was like YouTube is just all thumbnail stuff now and clickbait.
It's like, oh yeah,
literally all
it is. Impounded, taken, and arrested. I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, he threatened to arrest you, and I'm like, he didn't even impound your car. Like, they were all threats. Nothing actually happened. I'm like, oh, that's the other. Okay, this is a total side issue here, but like, I'm just gonna address it because like, I want to hear your take on this.
Okay.
Daily Driven Exotics, the amount of I got pulled over videos. How do we feel? Is that the content we want to be seeing? We the people, as the loyal viewers, is that the content we want to hear? I got pulled over. I've been pulled over, but I don't monetize it. I've had some outlandish threats towards me, like at least being pulled over. Like, dude, I drive a Crosstrack, as I stated before, and it's not modded, at least mechanically. It's got some method wheels on there with some aggressive General tires on there, roof rack. But I remember I got pulled over, and some sheriff's officer, he's like, hey, this is modified. I'm like, okay. Like, what do you want from me? He's like, pop the hood. I'm like, okay. Pop the hood. He stares at it probably for a good 10 minutes. Looks at it. I'm like, do you find anything? And he keeps staring. He doesn't respond. He just keeps looking at it. And I'm like, my car's not, I can't explain it enough to where I'm like, it's not modified. He doesn't believe me. Never mind the fact that once he wastes about a good like half hour to 45 minutes of my time and then finally lets me go. And I'm like, is that worth 45 minutes of my life? Which kind of brings me back though. Do you think that Daily Driven Exotics really like, is it worth the view to watch a clickbaited video on him getting pulled over for the millionth time?
For me, personal preference, I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Only because me having like severe hardcore ADHD, I can't just keep watching that shit, man. I can't. Like, it was cool. It's cool, occasionally and stuff, and especially if it's an actual encounter where the cop's an actual dick.
Oh, dude, like one of his most famous videos, the one where he dealt with the Beverly Hills PD, like probably like easily like the most like. I think it has to be one of his most viewed videos because I've seen that clip everywhere. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube in general. Like I've seen it TikTok now.
Yep.
I see that clip still, and that happened like probably like 4 or 5 years ago now.
For sure.
And that's probably the one where I was like, oh, this is worth a watch because the officer was still being an asshole.
Oh yeah.
cracked me up because like later down the line I was flipping through my reels and I saw somebody that got pulled over by that same officer. He's like, "Oh, you're the guy that was messing around and giving those dumbass tickets," and the guy's just like staring at him. I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, how do you even do your job after that? You know, you're pulling people over, nobody takes you seriously, just start laughing at you."
Oh man, that's bad. I'd move. I'd like
Quit.
transfer.
Like, I'm out of here, man. I'd be like, put me behind a desk. Like, put me on parking patrol. Like, I do not care. It's like, I can't deal with it. Because if nobody takes you seriously, like, you can pull somebody over all you want, but they're laughing their ass off all the time. And, like, I feel like you have to lose some level of your dignity at some point.
Yeah, because that was a hardcore video. And I mean, that guy...
He started making shit up. He's like, "You blew the stop sign. No, you did this. No, you did that." I, like, couldn't come up with a solid reason. Really, you know what? Now I'm impounding it.
Yeah.
But that was a while ago, and that was at the time when they just kind of started approving the U.S. Canada driver's license thing, so he wasn't aware of that. But at the same time, like, I think that he could have saved that whole level of embarrassment if he just did like a quick Google search.
For sure.
You know, I'm not condoning like Google lawyers, but at the same time, like, you know, it takes like, you know, a couple seconds and, you know, not that much time to read.
Well, now it's getting worse with social media when you're bringing up TikTok and stuff, because now you got the TikTok lawyers and everything.
See,
and
there's so much misinformation on that. But
it's funny how many people I hear talking about that stuff on like, oh, well, I got my information from this, and then you see the people that are videoing the cops, and they're like, oh, well, on this it says this, this, and this, and it's like, okay, that's the internet, dude, or it's another state, exactly,
state.
yeah.
Like, whoa, what?
So it's someone like on the East Coast, and it's like, okay, well, this is in SoCal.
Yeah, dude, TikTok, dude. You can make like a whole podcast series on TikTok lawyers. The amount of people that have gotten in trouble from that.
Ooh, yeah.
And just like saying ridiculous stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, that's all a separate issue.
Yeah. I think we're gonna close it out right here, though.
Sure.
If you have anything else you'd like to say.
I think I got the key talking points, at least like some of my frustrations out there. I have a lot more grievances, but I don't know if any of them are recommended for the internet, at least if I want to have a career.
For right now, maybe.
For right now, maybe, yeah. I think for now I'm good.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, it was good talking to you. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Pleasure.
And till next time, man.
For sure.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening and tuning in. And be sure to tune in to next week because we will be having another guest on. Thank you to Matteo. And see you guys next time. And hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you.